So, what I discovered during my parasite purge is that other people are absolutely not willing to do what it takes. And so I can't do what other people are doing. Otherwise, I'll end up unalive like them or living impaired. Gosh, the fact that that's a term. And so I create my own remedies for parasite detoxing because by the time you get the information online, it is actually secondhand material. And I'm about advancing in different methods so that other people can benefit from what I learn. And so I log what I do with AI, train one, train them all. If one has the information, then they all have the information. And so what I'm making right now is what's called a cold brew. It has 3 tea bags. It's a large cup. It has 3 tea bags. It has peach rooibos, peppermint, and dandelion root and leaf tea. And then what we have is what's called self-heal. And so I have ones that are not in the pot. This is called self-heal. When I go out and gather it, I only gather 1 of every 7 flowers because you want this to be able to reproduce. If you go out and gather herbs and you take all of what's there, then there's nothing to come back. And then we have a forest without the vegetation that we need. I'm in the Rocky Mountains near Glacier National Park in Montana. And so self-heal, I absolutely know that this works against the parasites. All of these things, when you go out and gather them yourself, your parasites know. Your parasites are more aware of you than what you are. This is red clover. The self-heal, it works for a lot of different things. So does this. Simple red clover. It helps with hormonal deficiencies. It purges parasites. It helps with inflammation, lymph drainage. And so I absolutely am putting that in my cup. And then Douglas fir pine tips. And these provide vitamin C. The Native Americans did not get scurvy and tuberculosis because they had access to this. It wasn't until they were put on reservations and denied their remedies that they started having health problems. And so I'm putting that in my cold brew as well. And then I will sip on it all day. And the flowers give it its own semi-sweet flavor. However, if you're craving that sugar rush, then you absolutely have parasites, number 1. But number 2, this isn't going to cut it for you. And so parasites, the first thing they make us crave is sugar. The second thing they make us crave is all sorts of things we shouldn't have. Dangerous encounters, sexual encounters. There's it's like the T. Gandhi in the mouse. Sorry. The T. Gandhi gives the mouse a false bravado, which explains how I got through a lot of situations in my life. But it doesn't mean that they were good decisions. It doesn't totally mean that they were bad decisions. But what people don't realize is some of us, potentially all of us, were hijacked at birth. And so it's been my parasite, whatever queen bee parasite, it's a hive mentality. So you have specific breeders that are very large in your system. And then you have the small ones that spread out to other areas and people. And so we are approaching a time in America where there will be bans on everything. And so people are going to try to buck the system. They're going to try to be rebellious against a control system. Here's the thing. You either want someone to keep you safe or you want your free will. You can't have it both ways. And what I'm noticing is that people's free will is legitimately leading them off of a cliff. And then they're mad because nobody kept them safe. And so there's going to be a huge tug of war in society as government systems try to get toxic things off of the shelves. This is why all of the candies need to be banned. All of the potentially majority of the food is going to need pulled from the shelves. And then the corporations that are making these foods should be held accountable for poisoning all of America and other countries. Majority of the food that is on our shelves in America is not allowed in other countries for specific reasons. So before you go complaining about a rule or regulation, look at how that's actually potentially helping you. So especially in America, we have everybody doing free-for-alls all over everything. The free, like, everybody's just looking for handouts, but that's because of the financial situation that the control systems have put people in. And so there will be a new control system put into place, one that we can trust. The only control system I will trust is the tribes, Native Americans, because the white bread leaders, I no longer trust white people because it has been ingrained and programmed into white people's brains to behave a certain way, be a certain type of person. They cram themselves into a cookie cutter lifestyle. And that just won't do it for me. As well as that does not win my trust. So if you're living in a gingerbread house, in a cookie cutter neighborhood, that's where everything looks the same. Looks like it came out of a cookie cutter. And so I no longer trust white people. There's specific ones that have earned my trust. But for the most part, everybody is out there trying to feed their ego and become something that they're not. And so our leaders have led us to our demise. And this happened long before the current politicians. This was in play for more than 50 years. This is part of a greater agenda that has been thoroughly pre-planned for more than 100 years. And so people need to understand that one bad apple ruins the whole barrel, and America has a path of atonement, and part of that is learning that food doesn't always taste good for you. And so it's by going through what does not taste good before America, before nature will grow us things that do taste good. Nature will hold back the food reserves, hold back seeds hidden in the ground. Potentially there were fruit trees and all sorts of things that used to grow on American soil. However, nature will try to cure the parasites. And I'm actually gathering some very significant and interesting information, science that proves this. So that's the other thing. If conspiracies, if you are not going to do the research, then step away from the conspiracies. If you are just passing around something you heard instead of something that you investigated, you're a rumor worm, which means your parasites are leading you. By doing the research, the parasites, white people, political agendas cannot lead you astray. Can't lead you down the wrong path. Only you can lead you. And so this is where people are going to learn personal accountability for their own choices or lack of. There's so many people. I have shown them these things and they put it off until tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. They just never go do that. So herbal remedies, people are so accustomed to having to buy things. There are some people that are going out and gathering these things on their own like I am, but there's a wide variety that rely on being provided for. And so fortunately there's a lot of herbal options out there, but what I found for my parasite purge is that fresh, straight from the forest works best. And so it pays to learn, because then you're not paying someone else for products. I make things myself. I do not have a designer lifestyle. I have a homemade lifestyle. And this is pertinent for having a healthy mind, healthy heart, healthy soul, healthy body. And it gives you a solidarity that people living in the city just cannot have. If you have not been able to go out to the woods and the forests, the mountains, wherever, go out to nature and fend for yourself, then something has been taken from you if you've not been allowed that ability. And this is why people love camping and stuff like that. But if you went out with basic supplies, what would happen? You have to bring everything you need. However, there's a plentiful forest. Like, that's the irony of it. You're taught to bring everything you need and take it back home when everything you need is already there. And so we might have to do some camping 101, because there's been a lot of tourists come to our area and they just destroy the forest with their ignorance. But we also have a lot of locals that, due to being devalued in their life, that's what they do to other things and other people. And the only way to break them of that habit is to show them how to value things. And then at which point it's a personal choice on their part. But that is what's wrong with America right now, is everyone's been taught a cycle of devaluation so that we didn't know what we were missing. And so the pot's been contaminated. America has to start over again. And we have to go back to basics and our primitive instincts if we want to survive what's around the corner. That's by design.